You hear the name Devil's Dyke, and it just sounds big, ancient, and mysterious, doesn't it? But what exactly is it? Is it a giant man-made wall? A beautiful deep valley? Well, the answer, weirdly enough, is yes. So let's dig in and unravel this amazing puzzle of history, geology, and folklore. And yeah, that really is the big question, isn't it? When someone says Devil's Dyke, which one do they actually mean? Because it turns out the name pops up all over the place, and each one tells a completely different story. Okay, so just look at this. It's kind of wild. You've got a massive wall from the Dark Ages in Cambridgeshire, a stunning natural valley carved during the Ice Age in Sussex, an ancient ditch in Hertfordshire, and you even have Roman forts in Hungary and Serbia that share this name. To keep things from getting too complicated, we're going to focus on the two most famous ones right here in England. All right, first stop, Cambridgeshire. We're here to see an absolutely incredible piece of Anglo-Saxon engineering. And this is important. We're not talking about a natural feature here. Nope, this was built. It's a genuine military marvel from over 1,000 years ago. And the scale? I mean, wow. We're talking 10.5 meters high in some spots. To give you some perspective, that's taller than a 3-story building. For anyone who knows their ancient earthworks, that's even higher than the more famous Offa's Dyke. Just try to imagine standing in that ditch and looking all the way up to the top. So what was it for? Well, back in the 5th or 6th century, this thing was a serious piece of military strategy. It stretches for 7.5 miles, basically creating this massive choke point to control who and what could move through the area. It was all about defending the Kingdom of East Anglia. And today, it's actually a protected nature reserve, home to some really rare flowers and butterflies. Pretty cool. But you know, history's one thing. Folklore, that's where it gets really fun. The local story is just fantastic. It says the devil got kicked out of a wedding, and in a total rage, he stomped off and carved this massive groove in the earth with his fiery tail. I mean, what a great way to explain this giant thing in the ground when its real history had been forgotten, right? Okay, so now let's head south to Sussex, because the Devil's Dyke here is a whole different beast. We're shifting from something man-made to something carved entirely by nature, and it is absolutely breathtaking. And when I say natural wonder, I am not exaggerating. This place is huge. We're talking the UK's longest, deepest, and widest dry valley. The view is so epic that the famous painter John Constable literally called it the grandest view in the world. High praise. And hey, does this sound familiar? Just like up in Cambridgeshire, you've got two very different explanations for how it got here. The legend, the devil tried to dig a channel to the sea in a single night to drown a bunch of Christians. The science, a little less dramatic, more like 10,000 years of ice freezing, melting, and slowly eroding the land. But the geology is only half the story. What's really fascinating is what people have done with this place over the centuries. It's been an Iron Age fortress, a Norman castle, and then, get this, in the Victorian era, it basically became a theme park. They had fun fairs, 30,000 people visiting in one day, and even Britain's first ever aerial cable car, which took you on a ride 230 feet above the valley. Wild. Okay, let's just pause for a second. We have one man-made wall, one natural valley. Completely different places, completely different origins, but they both get blamed on the same guy. So what's the deal? Why the devil? And you know, it's not just these two spots. You see this pattern everywhere. There are devil's punch bowls, devil's arrows, devil's chimneys, the list goes on. So what is it about these huge ancient landmarks that makes people say, yep, the devil did that? Well, it all comes down to a really basic human instinct. We need to explain things. Think about it. Before we had modern science, before geology and archaeology, how would you explain something like this? A massive ditch that looks like it was dug by something not human? It's just easier to say a supernatural force did it. Giants, gods, or in this case, the devil. And here's the real kicker. The name Devil's Dyke isn't even that old. If you look at the old medieval records for the one in Cambridgeshire, they just called it the Great Ditch. The whole devil thing, that was added way later, once people had completely forgotten who actually built it and why. It's a nickname. The story in Sussex has this extra layer to it too. You have to remember, Sussex was the last Anglo-Saxon kingdom to become Christian. So a story about the devil being furious and trying to stop Christianity right there in its tracks, that would have been a really powerful, really memorable tale for the people in that specific area. All right, so let's bring it all home. We started with this one confusing name, And what we found are two totally separate, really cool stories that are literally written into the landscape of England. And this table just lays it all out so clearly. You've got Cambridgeshire, a man-made wall from the Anglo-Saxons, and you've got Sussex, a natural valley from the Ice Age. The legends are different, the origins are different, but the reason for the name is the same. It was a way for people to explain something ancient and mysterious that they just couldn't understand. And you know what's so great? Both of these places are still here for us to enjoy. It doesn't matter if it was made by ancient soldiers or by a glacier. When you visit, you're literally walking through layers of history, geology, and mythology all at the same time. It's just incredible. So it kind of makes you think, right? The next time you're out and about and you see some weird old hill or a really deep valley, maybe ask yourself, what's the story here? What myths did people create hundreds of years ago to explain the world right under their feet?